The storm rolled over the horizon like a wild stampede, thunder cracking the sky wide open. In the middle of the dusty Texas road stood a woman in scrubs, her car parked haphazardly on the shoulder, the hazard lights blinking like a heartbeat. Her name was Grace Holloway, a 29-year-old nurse on her way home from a double shift at the county hospital. Her hair was pulled back into a tired bun, and her feet ached from standing, but something made her stop when she saw the slumped figure by the fence. At first, she thought it was a mirage, just a pile of coats or gear, until lightning flashed, and she saw boots. She ran. "Sir," she called out, kneeling beside the man. He was older, maybe in his 50s, with a weathered face and gray stubble along his jaw. A cowboy hat was half buried in the dirt next to him, and his denim shirt was soaked in blood at the side. His lips were cracked, eyes half closed, breathing shallow. Grace pressed her fingers to his neck. Weak pulse. "Hold on, I got you," she whispered. There was no one else around. This stretch of road between Willow Creek and the next town over was mostly ranch land and forgotten corners. Cell reception was dead. But Grace was trained for this. She tied off a makeshift tourniquet using a strip from her scrub pants, pressed her jacket against the wound, and used every ounce of her training and will to stabilize him. When he groaned, she whispered again, "Don't try to talk. We're gonna get through this, okay? I'm Grace." He looked at her with glassy eyes. "Walt," he mumbled. "Name's Walt." That was all she got before he passed out. She hauled him into her back seat, barely managing it with her petite frame, and sped off to the hospital, pushing her little Corolla to its limits. Walt made it. Barely. 2 broken ribs, a punctured lung, and a deep laceration from what looked like a bull's horn. The ER doctor said if Grace hadn't found him, he wouldn't have made it another hour. But what baffled everyone was who he was. No ID. No emergency contact. No one knew a Walt in Willow Creek. Could be a drifter, one nurse had said. Or a ranch hand who took a bad fall. But Grace didn't buy that. There was something in the way he held himself, even unconscious, dignity. And when he woke up, he didn't act lost or panicked. Just tired. Quiet. Grateful. Over the next week, Walt barely spoke to anyone but Grace. He asked her questions, about the town, about her life, about why she stopped that night. She shrugged it off. "I became a nurse to help people," she said. "Didn't matter who you were." He smiled at that. A soft, almost sad smile. Grace learned he'd been staying in a rundown shack at the edge of town. "Had some trouble with a bull I shouldn't have been near," he said simply. He never offered more. But every day, he got stronger. Then, on the 10th day, he was gone. Just like that. No discharge papers. No goodbyes. The bed empty, hospital gown folded neatly. Grace was confused, then worried, but there were no leads. He'd vanished as mysteriously as he'd arrived. 2 weeks later, Grace got a letter. No return address, just her name. Inside was a note, written in elegant cursive. "You saved my life. That's something I don't take lightly. Meet me at the barn on Mill Road. Friday. Noon. Signed, Walt." Her hands trembled. She wasn't sure if it was excitement or nerves. Friday came. Grace drove out to Mill Road, which ran past the hills outside town. At the end was an old barn, abandoned for years, she thought. But when she pulled up, she stopped in awe. The barn was restored, clean, bright red with white trim, like something out of a postcard. A white fence surrounded rolling green fields. Horses grazed lazily. A longhorn bull stood at a distance, chewing hay. And there, standing by the gate in a pressed denim shirt and clean boots, was Walt. Only this time, he didn't look like a dying cowboy. He looked like a man with secrets. "Grace," he greeted warmly. Glad you came. What is this place? She asked, stepping out. My home, he said simply. Or, it was. Now it's my gift. She blinked. What do you mean? He turned to her, his eyes kind but serious. I've lived in this town my whole life. But no one really knew me. That was by design. I kept to myself. Made a fortune investing in land, oil leases, things folks around here don't care to talk about at the diner. You're a millionaire? She asked, stunned. More than that, he said. But the money didn't mean much. Not until you. Me. You saved me without asking who I was. You risked your life and gave me yours, in a way. And it made me realize. I've wasted too much time hiding. Grace didn't know what to say. Walt continued. So I've decided to change that. I'm donating most of my estate to the town. To fix the school, build a proper clinic, help the families who are barely hanging on. But I want you to run the foundation. What? She gasped. You've got the heart. The smarts. And the courage. I trust you more than anyone I've ever met. Grace was speechless. Then Walt handed her a set of keys. And this place, it's yours too. For whatever you want it to be. A home. A sanctuary. A dream. Tears welled in her eyes. Why me? He smiled. Because you didn't see a dying cowboy. You saw a human being. That kind of vision, that's what this town needs. Word spread fast. Willow Creek had always been a forgotten dot on the map, but that year, everything changed. A new community center was built. The hospital got upgraded equipment. Scholarships flowed for kids who never dreamed of college. And at the heart of it all was Grace, humble, grounded, and tireless. She never wanted praise, but the town knew, she was the soul of their miracle. As for Walt, he didn't fade into the background again. He bought a small ranch near the new school and spent his mornings helping kids learn to ride horses. He laughed more. Lived more. One fall afternoon, Grace visited him, holding a mug of coffee. You ever think that bull saved you? She asked. He chuckled. Maybe. But really, it was you. She looked out at the golden fields, wind rustling through the grass. Funny how life works. One moment, I was just a tired nurse on a back road, and now. Now you're changing the world, Walt said. She smiled. We both are. In the end, it wasn't the money that changed Willow Creek. It was compassion. A woman who stopped on a stormy road because a stranger needed help. A man who'd built walls around his heart, and finally let someone in. Because sometimes, miracles don't come from angels. They come from nurses with tired feet and cowboys with secrets. And sometimes, saving a life is just the beginning of something even bigger.